So we show up to Heath's house, walk up to the front door, and bam, he opens the garage. And there sits his brand new 2013 XM Summit SP, just completely torn apart. So we were a little worried at first, see what he got into, but it was a brand new sled. He just took some of the plastics off and we pretty much dove in right there. So we started in on it, started taking everything apart. So as he's like making sure we put all his tools back stuff, we started noticing that he's got a pretty nice setup going on in that garage. He's got like little monster fridges, and I'd hung out with Heath a few times before, you know, and kind of heard a few of his stories, but it was cool to be able to hang out in his garage. And as we're building the sled, you know, he's telling us, you know, just how he pulls his tricks and how he works up to the point of like pulling the front flip and stuff.
It was really, really dangerous for the first 4 days in the pit because I kept landing upside down, going backwards.
It's crazy what those guys do. I know a lot of kids think that you're just jumping into a foam pit and it's all safe and good, but you know, I know those guys get injured a lot in the foam pit, and it's definitely, they're still risking their life, you know.
When you are training in the foam pit, how many jumps do you make a day?
You can't jump a lot. It's like a car crash every single time. I would say if you jump more than 10 or 15 jumps into it, you're gonna be so sore the next day you're not even gonna be able to walk. Because you're stopping in 5 feet going 40 miles an hour.
They really risk their lives day in and day out, and it's not like you think for sure.
Like X Games is so mental. You're standing there, right? And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, he'll be like, 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 19, 18, 17, go. Do whatever thing you have to do to go right now. So it's insane amount of mental strength. I like to be pretty calculated about it. I never wing anything. I try to do it the right way, train for it, and then overtrain way beyond what you actually need to do. Because as long as you train yourself to know that you can do it and trust yourself, you're way better off.
It was awesome to have Andrew there. He's one of the head engineers at Aerocharger. He really knows his stuff, so it's cool to have him there to help us with the reeds and just with the whole kit in general. Yeah, Brad from Aerocharger showed up. He was there, and he kind of supervised us as we did it all and helped with the vents and of course the turbo, which is his baby. So he dialed in the vanes and did all his little tricks and stuff to that. And I've talked about what the Aerocharger turbo is to me a bunch in the past, you know, and how the variable vanes make it feel like it's hooked to your thumb and whatnot. But I definitely learned so much on the trip from Brad as he explained a lot of the stuff to Heath and his father.
And what you want to do is set the vanes to where the engine is happy and can rev free, and it'll come up, but we want the turbo immediately behind it, building boost. If we close it down too much and we say, oh, we want boost, you know, at idle, then you've choked off the exhaust too much. So this is like on a conventional turbo, an AR ratio. This is a variable AR ratio, so I just set the AR is what I did.
I always learn when Brad's around, and it was definitely a learning experience for me. So when it came to doing the exhaust, obviously we know Heath's going to be riding in the deep snow, so a lot of people want to know why we do the exhaust where we do on the Aerocharger Turbo for 2013, and it's because of deep snow performance. It's where we found that it snuffs out the least. It's following the A-arms in suspension, so it never really has a pressure there from the snow, so it just keeps the bottom end real crisp and free-flowing, which is necessary for turbo performance. We forgot to bring a hole saw for the exhaust, which is our bad, but Heath came up with the idea just to get the blowtorch out and heat up a X-Acto knife and cut her open, so it worked pretty good, and it's definitely custom for Heath Frisby's build for sure. After that, it was time to toss her in there, which is really simple, but it's definitely the point where, you know, the sled starts looking like a turbo sled, and we tossed the cradle in there and the exhaust and the turbo and got her all mounted up. Super simple. Definitely, you know, start getting your blood flowing after that.
Is there any way we could put a flap on that, like a tractor?
So one of the cool improvements for this year's kit is the The boost gauge and the AFR gauge are mounted down low, the air fuel gauge. In years past, they had always mounted it on the handlebars, and I'd push them to get away with that, just to clean up the system a little and make it a little bit more durable. It comes with a template, super easy to install, and it's very clean. You can read it standing or sitting. I really like it. Heath was pretty stoked on it. As we were installing his turbo kit, Heath decided he was going to install his bars, and took him about the same amount of time to install the handlebars as it did for us to install the Aerocharger kit, and it was pure entertainment for sure. So Saturday morning, we had to pick up some hand warmers for Heath and his handlebars. Checking out the Birds of Prey dealership here in on Boise, are we? We're in just outside of Boise, I think. That's he. Got a solid 4 inches, I think, today. Fluffy stuff too. That's fresh power right there. Rich from Western Power Sports and Fly. He's a cool guy. He goes way back with Heath. He stopped by Saturday to check out the build. Heath did a couple more things to his handlebars. We double checked over our stuff, and I told him I guarantee it starts first pull.
But it starts first pull.
Should I open the garage door just in case?
No, it's super clean E-Tech.
Sure enough, he yanked it. First pull, started right up, ran like champ. So from there, we dollied the sled out so Heath could load up in the trailer, and bam, we seen the trailer. So late Friday night, as we were finishing up with the turbo kit, Paul from SES Unlimited showed up. You know, as we went to bed that night, woke up the next day, he had the wrap installed on Heath's brand new trailer, and it's pretty amazing to see how they do that. Looks sweet, and not only that, man, that trailer was very impressive outside and in. We loaded Heath's sled, and he started showing us a few of the features. I mean, it's got like TV in there, heater, boot heaters, you know, stereo system with subs, and so from that point, you know, we shut up the trailer and headed up into McCall to do a little bit of riding that night. So we showed up at the parking lot about dark, unload the sleds. Heath was really excited to hop on her, and he kept asking me, you know, what do I got to do? You know, what do we got to do to tune this thing? And, you know, I was like, man, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to go ride it. He wanted me to ride it. He was a little worried, so I hopped on it, and, you know, I took it like 3-4 miles up the trail. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's turning just over 8 pounds of boost. You know, everything was dead on. It was a little rich because it's still in break-in mode, but they still run very well, you know, rich. And pretty much told him not to mess with anything and just have fun on it. So he climbed a few hills and tore it up a little, and man, he was super stoked. Had a great time down there with Heath and building the sled, and we look forward to riding with him again. He's gonna meet up with us sometime after the X Games, and we're gonna actually get to do a good ride and some deep powder and shred a little bit, hopefully.